Hello there, viewers. It's me, Quinte Davis, or Tay, if the shortened nickname for it is easier for you to pronounce. So, earlier today, worked on uh, I worked on the behind the scenes for Substance SY, and I figured why not do one for Julius Stroamekian as well. I don't think. Oh yeah, because I have rebooted Go For It. I don't think I can even do one for Go For It because I'm more focused on a reboot that I'm working on now. Not right now, but like I'm working on more episodes of the reboot in the near future. As far as Julius Stroamekian, I've been going on with Julius Stroamekian for quite some time. Hold on for a quick second. Okay, I'm back. As I said, I've been working on Julius Stroamekian for quite some time, and I love this franchise. I mean, you'll figure it. After working on the theatrical film, I'm still going after that with season 7, and spoiler alert, I have another theatrical film that I intend to make in the future, which similar to my Substance SY franchise is going to serve as the official finale for the franchise. Now, unlike Substance SY, which so I even though I'm recording this today, I intend to have this one uploaded tomorrow. Especially because the last behind the scenes I did was actually my longest video on this channel yet. Like it's literally like way longer than what I actually refer to my theatrical films. Like my theatrical films that I consider to be are actually way shorter. Like they're only half an hour at most. Well, close to half an hour at most. The behind the scenes is literally like an hour, like 33 minutes, I think. Um, I don't know if this was gonna reach that. I'm gonna try to get it to be like an hour at most. But that means that there's a lot of stuff I gotta cover first then. Um oh well try my bad. I did the last behind the scenes like right off like the top of my head, so I'm trying to do that with this. Substance Y is obviously sci-fi, and as I said, Julius Stroamekian is obviously more fantasy oriented, though it has a touch of sci-fi in it as well. As the description implies, it's an adventure, comedy, fantasy, sci-fi media franchise that follows the everyday misadventures of a young girl, her family, and her friends as they explore the world around them while also saving the world from various villains. And this the logo similar with Substance SY. No, the last logo that I've shown for Substance SY in the thumbnail of the video, it's I'm not gonna lie, I used AI. I drew it originally, but then I used AI filter to enhance it. With this, I drew it and then I used the AI filter to enhance it as well as the background, which is what I did with Substance SY. But here, only the letters are what I designed, and I think you could tell like what like the specific flair I have for Substance SY. With Substance SY, I designed the logo, but a lot of that extra stuff like it's pure AI. I admit. Okay, so as you can see, I have this much done of Julius Stroamekian, but that's not. This is only the official continuity. I want to show you how the series came to be, just like I did with Substance SY. Now, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about as far as Julia Stroamekian goes, this is the character that I'm sure anyone who's been on my channel, watching my channel for longer than like more than a year or two, I'm sure you've all, or you, even by a few months, I'm sure you've all seen this curly haired little cat girl with wings before. And I just want to make it clear, I've been working on this series for, according to YouTube, 4 years now. Except Julia Stroamekian has gone through quite some changes. And we're going to be reviewing all of them. I was trying to decide whether or not I want to show all of these. You know what? Each of these are only a minute, so I figured I might as well. Before we click on the video, though, Julia Stroamekian originated as a... Julia Stroamekian wasn't even originally going to be a series. Originally, it was just a comic strip, comic book that I worked on back when I was at a homeless shelter back in 2021. Because, see, I had recently turned 18 and I didn't really have anywhere to go when I turned 18. So I kind of just... Oh, by the way, Julia Stroamekian came before Substance That's Why. Technically, I decided to do Substance That's Why first. Like, as far as behind the scenes goes. But, back with the story. I was 18, didn't have anywhere to go, and long story short, not going to go into too many details, but I ended up at the homeless shelter, and long story short, I had my drawing supplies with me, so I just decided to, try to get the time to fly by working on the comic book. And then I decided to post it online. People seem to like it more. I said, I wonder, because this isn't, like, I've tried writing actual series in the past, like even in my teenage years, but I got discouraged by the time I was like in my late teens. But I was like, what if I try to turn Julia Stroamekian into a series? So I decided to adapt the comic into short. Well, there were episodes at the time I thought I liked. At the time, I thought I liked how this series was going. But looking back, I consider these more to be like I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Interstitials, basically like shorts. I consider these to be shorts that promote the official series, like similar to what like Jimmy Neutron did with their shorts, back in the day, before the theatrical film that also kind of served as the pilot. I wanted to do that, like with these shorts. That's what I consider these to be. So basically, each of these shorts are based on the comic strip. So there's a lot more to it than just that, but I'm gonna get into the rest of Julia Stroamekian's origins after these shorts. There's only like there's only 10 of them, and they're only like a minute long. Yeah. So this shouldn't take long at all. So Julie and her mother have always like had a bond in the earlier installments of the franchise. Oh, but Julie has actually looked like way different. Like originally, she was more rounded. Like there was less depth to her design. It looks different looking back on it. Like how I designed the character back then. Also, I did mention this in my last behind the scenes because well, it didn't come up, but also I didn't. I honestly forgot my original. In fact, I think that's it. It's this. I think this is actually what my original YouTube channel for this was called. I could be absolutely wrong. I don't even remember what my YouTube channel was called like originally. Well, I know at one point it was just Quite Davis. I think it was only like in recent months that I changed it to Quite Davis Productions, but I can't remember if my YouTube channel was ever like Art Style Incorporated. But originally, the Quite Davis Productions with that pencil as the eye, or even my face in the logo. Like my face was in the logo here, but not even in the way like it was with Quite Davis Productions. But yeah, the whole pencil thing that didn't come into being until like I think you'll see, but um, hold on just 1 second. Okay, my bad. I had to make sure I deleted the last video. Not from my YouTube channel. Not from my YouTube channel. I meant on my save file, like my storage. The Substance That's Why behind the scenes is still up. It's still ready to be posted tonight. I had to make sure that in order to save space to make sure I could even record for this, I had to make sure it was deleted from my tablet, just so this video wouldn't get cut, because it would be a damn shame if I forgot to do that. But yeah, so Art Style Incorporated was my original concept for a production company's title, but I changed it because I learned that. I mean, I'm pretty sure none of my concepts and whatnot are full on original at this point. But at the time, I was like, you know what? I want to change my logo and title of the company into something more personal, something more original. So I went with I guess a more obvious choice, Quitace Productions. But looking back, I like it because sure the production part is not fully original, but I mean, people might be like, "Who's Quite?" If they can even pronounce that, because a lot of people can't. Hence the reason why some people just call me Tay. These were my earliest videos, so I wouldn't expect audio from these. I think eventually you're gonna start hearing more audio, but at that time, oh yeah, by the way, I'm sure if you watch Substance That's Why you can recognize the design of the sheriff. Yeah, some of my characters that didn't make it into the final cut of some of my other projects, like some of these characters in Stroamekian's earliest shorts and whatnot, they made it into later installments of Stroamekian somewhere, or other installments of other productions of mine. Again, it's so weird looking back, seeing all of these characters. One of these characters was adapted into Julie's arch nemesis, Doctor Ingenious, or Ingy for short, but her original counterpart isn't even in the franchise anymore. One thing I do kind of miss about my sense of humor back then is just how edgy it was. I guess you could say. Because I actually forgot that some of these jokes and whatnot were even in there. Like I knew I obviously changed the humor of Jewish American over the years. Even in a more official series, you can tell that like there was a sense of edge to it. But back then, like back in the earliest of shorts, I feel like Jewish American was kind of actually dark, actually, with some of the humor. So again, there's characters here in the shorts that I actually completely forgot about. Yeah, like I said, the shorts were kind of dark. I'm gonna go check that notification on my other tablet. It was nothing of particular importance, and yes, I have two tablets. I know, bougie, but one was actually meant to be just like for fun or like recreational use, and then one was supposed to be like a drawing tablet. That was the intention, but now it's just kind of they're kind of just a mix of both. So Julie's catchphrase "Well, pop diggity" originated from the fact that I'm from the South, or well, I don't know if you consider North Carolina to be the South, but um, and it was supposed to be like one of those like um Southern catchphrases. Basically, I'm a little too embarrassed to do one myself, but um, yeah, Julie's catchphrase was originated from that. I, for one, I kind of miss this. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna try to make Jewish American as this was back then because I feel like that'd be kind of like forcing it. But sometimes I kind of look back. Well, kind of look back. I completely forgot that this series was once like this. But looking back on it now is what I meant to say. I kind of. I now kind of miss how edgy Jewish American was. I mean, tying someone to a rocket. Yeah, again, I did this when I was younger. Like, I think I was actually still in my very late teens, like around like eight. I could personally consider 18, 19 still teenager. 20 is young adult to me, and 21 is like fully grown adult. I was at least 18 writing this, so again, Julie's mom, Jennifer, or as I refer to her nowadays, Madame Jen. She was always meant to be like an important integral role in Julie's development. And I like, even though the designs of these characters aren't what I'm trying to go for now, like I feel like they're much to be desired compared to what I feel like I'm getting better at now. But to me, I feel like there's like a kind of charm to these shorts. Could be nostalgia, or like could be because I'm like looking back and remembering. Like I'm just grateful that I even recorded this at the time because as I stated with my in oh, by the way, this is when this is how, even though these shorts I guess are technically non-canon, this is more or less how Julie, like, just more or less how Julie and her friends in the official continuity met Ryan Anderson, Dr. Ryan Anderson, the creatureologist. Um, Notice something. Um, an obvious factor: Julie's curls are no longer like really curled how they are in the official series. Chuck, um, Chuck's hair is no longer styled. I mean, Chuck's hair is not styled in the way it is. Like the spiky, like, I don't know if you call it like a pompadour, but like it's not styled the way it is in the official series. Randy pretty much is the same, except I think I gave him a hood and the updated version of Julie Stroamekian, and Gavin doesn't have his hat. Caitlyn is more chubbier than that in the official series, and again, the one with the bangs and ponytail in the back. That's her. Originally, her name was Amanda, but I updated her to become Doctor Ingenius's. Yeah, she basically became Doctor Ingenious, and she became Julie's arch nemesis. So basically, in the updated version of Julie Stroamekian, not to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but I gave Julie a little sister named Susie McAllister, an adopted little sister. This is in fact, like, again, this isn't canon to the official continuity of Julie Stroamekian, but this is more or less how Julie and her official band of friends met Dr. Ryan Anderson. There was something else I was gonna say. What was I gonna say? I completely forgot. It's so different seeing the shorts because, like, even though they're not absolutely far from what I went for with the official series, there was like a whole different vibe to this. Like, Julia Shermickin, from what I'm going for now, I think leaned more heavily into the fantasy vibe. But I think here, I don't think I was going for a. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was going for more of a sci-fi vibe actually. But honestly, I don't see that. I see it, but I think honestly, I was just winging it. I was kind of just going for like whatever I felt like, and I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I kind of miss just how that was, like that feeling of just. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was going for some. Oh, by the way, this is more or less the character model for what Dr. Nancy Patavsky, aka Mountain Prowler from Substance That's Why. This is more or less her original character model. Her as a human. Of course, I made her look. Of course, I gave her like a blazer. Or I think that's a blazer. Like a doctor scientist uniform. In the Substance That's Why franchise, here she looks more like a woman at a mall or something. Much less like a scientist. But yeah, I kind of miss that. Like, I'm pretty sure I was going for something with this. I can't exactly remember now. I'm not trying to act like I'm much older than I was. I mean, I'm not trying to act like I don't remember at all what I was going for. But at the same time, it's like it's kind of harder to really like pinpoint from memory what the vibe was supposed to be for this, because this was May 2021. I think. Let me check. Yeah, this was May 2021. It's 2025. I can't even remember what I was going for with this anymore. See, the SRF, originally it was called, I think, the Stroamekian Research Facility, and I adapted it out of I adapted it out of Julia Stroamekian, and I gave it to Substance XY by calling it the scientific research faculty. Oh yeah, by the way, Ryan was always meant to be like nerdy but brave. Like Ryan was supposed to be like the underdog, the guy that you would expect to be a hero. I also love how back then I had like way more Stromekians be seen. Nowadays, I feel like it's rare to see other Stromekians besides Julie and her usual cast of characters. But again, these were different, man. And I can't wait to get to the others. Well, I won't spoil it, even though I think I kind of leaned a little too heavy into that one. Judge, Jury, and Julie, and yeah, some of my concepts were adapted and recycled from older stuff. So, because I'm sure you've seen that one before, that title before. This was so different. I don't even really personally. I don't even care that there's no audio. Um, my apologies to anyone that it wishes there were. I remember when I tried to pull this where Ryan was telling the story. Also, I don't know if you could see like the detail there, but Atomicon didn't always have its rings. In fact, I don't think the planet was even originally called Atomicon. I think I kind of just called it Stromek. Hey, you all wanted lore, right? Well, I mean, I'm not sure if you did, but I mean, here it is. So that was the end of the shorts. Again, I'm not gonna lie, I was actually more entertained than I thought I would be going over the shorts, but um, surprisingly, that's not all of the shorts I've made for Julius Shamakian because look here, I actually tried to reboot Julius Shamakian back in what year was it? I know it was said 3 years ago, but 2022. I tried to reboot Julius Stroamekian, and it only made it to 8 episodes. Believe it or not, there were actually supposed to be like 3 seasons worth of these shorts at this point. But at the time, I wrote 3 whole seasons, and that's why it hurts so much. I mentioned this in the last behind the scenes for Substance That's Why, but it hurts so much losing all my progress, like via losing my previous productions files container on the bus ride home one day because by God, there was so many like. Remember, all that remains um I worked on it like a month or two ago. I posted a month or two ago. You can find it under my theatrical films. You can find it on my theatrical films playlist, and then you can find it under the acceptors and remainers playlist. Um, it took at least 3 years for me to actually rewrite the film completely. But originally, I had released a trailer. I think back in 2022. I think I said 2022. Um, it took me quite a while to actually like write the film because I was just so hurt by the fact I lost it. Like I had like three. So I had the original beta for Substance That's Why Collision slash well, it was Collision, then it turned to Prowlers. Then I had 3 seasons worth of Julia Stroamekian, and then the original this version of Julia Stroamekian, which I think you're gonna see is like way different. I won't go into. Well, I mean, I guess I might as well. I'm just gonna slow down the video because in order to actually for us to watch it because these are going to go way too fast. And then I wrote at the time I had an actual theatrical film for All That Remains, which unfortunately you will never be able to see because unlike these, I waited way too long to try and get it online. I think I actually yeah. See, at the time I was going to have it out in October of that year. Was it October? I think it was October. I was supposed to have it done. Yeah, I waited way too long, and I never got the film out there. I'm pretty sure there's a short or two of The Shira the Remainder somewhere on my YouTube channel. I'm just not gonna go over that. I just don't even feel like it's even worth adding to the playlist for my Sisters and Remainders franchise. I think I'm just gonna leave it. If you can, if it's still on my YouTube channel, you can find it. I applaud you, but I'm just not looking for it. Enough of my babbling. I don't know what I know what I'm talking about. It's just like enough of what that was, that blathering. But yeah, I worked on Free Mechanade. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna ignore these. The actual script, the um, not like because you wouldn't be able to keep up with it anyway. So I'm gonna just forget it. Um, I swear these were different, man. uh. Something that I kind of miss about Julia Schumacher's personality is that she was much more mischievous in the original shorts. And alas, I don't think I honestly don't think I can even like. I don't think even if I tried to, I don't think I could match this tone of edginess. Yeah, I don't think we're ever gonna return to this level of Julia Schumacher. Like this was different. Um, so yeah, I'm not exactly sure when I started adding audio. This See, this is what I meant when I said like I think Julia Stroamekian has always had like some kind of like fancy or sci-fi vibe to it, but by God, don't. I don't think I was even going like. See, there's a Stroamekian sphere, so the show has always had like a fancy vibe to it, I guess. But like, I it had like a fancy like something to it, but I don't even think like I think I was going for more like a comedy with these. I know you can't really tell what's happening because there's no dialogue, but overall, I these were I think the visuals themselves are just the more fun part of these. Just seeing the characters be in these like weird situations. Again, I know you can't really tell what they're saying, but just seeing these characters in these bizarre situations is just so fun to me. Some of these ideas I think I utilized at one point, but seeing them in their most original form was just like, wow. Julie turned into a giant that I remember specifically. The mom is just looking there like, what? Again, Julie was bad, like, originally. Like, Julie Stroamekian was, like, so edgy back then. Yeah, Julie originally, like, had stuffed animals and stuff like that, and I didn't even mean to click on this video because it doesn't really do anything but show Julie getting older, like a timeline of what it would look like if Julie got older. So I guess that's what Julie will look as an adult. Well, no, well, I think that's her as a teenager. That's Julie as an adult. She looks just like her mom. Um, I think that actually was the first official Julia Stroamekian thing I ever put sound to. There go the grabbing by warehouse in its earliest stages. Okay, see, store mech. Originally there was going to be a store that was actually dedicated to Stroamekians because originally Stroamekians weren't as hated by the world as like I think I kind of just came up with that like for the modern series, like the official Jewish Stroamekian series. But originally humans did accept Stroamekians a lot more. Like in the original version of Julius Stroamekian, um, like they made a whole store for them. I actually completely forgot about this. I completely forgot this existed. Like snout stick, claw, polished eyelid glimmer. Julie's mom having a purse. White chocolate snout stick. Potapsky's pets. Yeah, remember that villain in the last series of shorts? Well, I thought about adding her back to the lore. Like, not officially. I'm talking about at the time. I was actually considering her bringing her back. Like, I even gave her her own. I think this is where I started drawing her with the blazer, like Nancy Potapsky from Substance That's Why. I think this is what got me like to draw her with the blazer. Cause look at her design. Look how like she's wearing like Stroamekian attire, like a Stroamekian belt buckle, a Stroamekian necklace. Again, I love my edgy humor. Working on these. Um, I I got quiet there because I'm just like I'm actually getting caught up in my own story. Like I don't even remember this music. I mean, I do remember Fitzgerald, but yeah. So at least by this point, Fitzgerald was always a concept that I wanted to include in Julius Stroamekian. Also, I think this is the first official time I used the term "little furball." There's the reptilians. Though in the later installments of Julius Stroamekian, I stopped giving them ears. The invasion, I didn't use that title again until the official take on the official, not really official, but like until Substance Why the invasion. Hold on. So yeah, this is where Chuck's more heroic aspect started to come in because Chuck was originally just gonna be like my version of Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants, where Patrick Star is an idiot, but my version of Chuck had like silly, goofy moments, but also he was smart enough to do the right thing still. Also, back then I had this ghostwriter kind of thing where I started making up people that I claimed was writing my stories. I know it's looking back, it's kind of rather odd, but it's just I wanted to give myself like a sort of reason to. Oh, by the way, this is a character that I think I wrote to be like Horace Amsterdam and go for it, but he just never showed up again in Julius Stroamekian at all. I didn't mean to restart the video, but whatever. Um, because I remember giving Gopher the carrot plushie, which I think made more sense because he's a groundhog. I gave it to Julie at the time because I wasn't working on Gopher. It. Oh, here's the three mean girls that were later turned to Stroamekians, but at the time they were beacons. Well, originally they were Stroamekians in the original Julius Stroamekian shorts, but I adapted them to beacons in these shorts. They were gonna return in the second season, I remember, of these shorts until I lost the original files. But yeah, Ryan and Julie have always had like a good relationship. Because many people consider them like a brother and sister kind of like big brother little sister kind of thing. So all of these shorts led to the official series promo that led to the official series for Julius Stroamekian. I even worked on at the time, like 2 years ago, I worked on how to draw Julius Stroamekian. And the series just went on from there. I'm going to show the official pilot for Julius Stroamekian. Well, I'm going to do the first 2 episodes. That way, you can tell the difference between how I did back then with working on Julius Stroamekian and how I did now. I'm not going to slow down these because that last time it took way too long. So I have a specific order of things that I'm going to do in order to like a specific order like for this behind the scenes that I'm going to go over as far as like how I'm going to present this. I have a specific order. if you want to know what the dialogue is saying, or at least for as far as these earlier episodes, watch the just click on these videos yourself and see the descriptions. My apologies that I didn't. The way I worked on these at the time, I think there was a reason as to why I did this. I completely forgot as to why I did this with the videos. Why there's no dialogue, I completely forgot. See, Julie's hair became more curlier, or at least more in depth. Julie's mother gave her more depth to her curls and whatnot too, but yeah, she pretty much stayed the same. I made Julie and her mother more fluffier, I guess. It gave more depth to her cheeks. I was going to make Julie more like I was gonna try to retain her sassiness, but I think you're gonna see. I think you've seen more and more over the years if you kept up with this channel that Julie's. Oh yeah, I'd try to give Julie a father too by this point. Read the description for Laura and him. The description of not this video, but the video I'm screen recording. The first episode. Look at the description of the first episode. This is the first official episode where I start addressing Jennifer as Madam Jen. So the first two episodes of Julia Stroamekian, or at least mostly, are to focus on their bond as a mother and daughter. Um, Around this time, I was still developing what I wanted the genre of Julia Stroamekian to be. So some of the music doesn't really work that well, I feel, but I feel like over time I got better. Yeah, so I didn't completely like remove Julie's sass. It just I kind of used it a different way with the official series. I try like in the official series, I wanted to give Julie because I was leaning more to fantasy. I was trying to give Julie more and more powers as time went on. That way, like the series didn't become stale, and also remember how I said I changed Amanda to Doctor Ingenious or Ng for short. Yeah, that's her. This is around the time where I was starting to use my official logo more, Quitace Productions. Okay, moving on. When did this one release? 2023, January 1st. If this was made today, it would never have released on a holiday. I try not to. I mean, I at least try not to upload on holidays anymore. I think at least in the earlier seasons of Julie, I think there's still somewhat of a trace of that. Like, even though I started like toning it into the more fantasy genre a lot more, I think there's still that trace of the randomness that I had back with the earlier Julie Stroamekian shorts. I think it was by like the later season of Julie where I started like really like where it became more of a like lighthearted comedy. But I feel like back like I think the earlier seasons of Julie still had that edginess to it. I think so. Amanda, or what was once Amanda, but is now Dr. Ingenious, aka NG. I made her a villain because someone suggested that because she and Julie seem to have like a rivalry, it would only make sense. And at the time, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like NG having intelligence, and Julie having that like. I figure it could be like a brain and brawn situation where Julie was a brawn and NG was a brain. It could be like a fun dynamic. But then I saw it more and more. I was like, you know what? This could actually work. I felt. I mean, so obviously, I eventually agreed, but I just at the time I didn't get it, but now I do, and I feel like with NG, I felt like I recently explained to someone that I feel like NG would be more jealous of the fact that Julie has like family and friends that love her and adore her, whereas with NG, she's a scientist who has to scrounge for like notes here. She's not even a child; she's an adult. And just something to notice about her fur pattern. I wanted her because she's a scientist. I wanted her to look like a scientist. Stroamekian, like she still has like fur and everything, like a Stroamekian does, but she's like is depicted in like a scientist manner. You'll see. I wanted Indri to be evil because I figured it would make sense. Like she's a scientist who has to she's black and white like a scientist lab coat. Um, I wanted to show like Indy's a scientist who has to like scrounge for power, while Julie's sweet, but she's practically a nepotism baby. Like her mom's a sorceress and she's rich, and Indy has to like. And NG doesn't have the powers that a mere child has. Julie has. Um, as you can see, NG has captured Caitlyn or Kate, and this is gonna be important like very soon, which is why I'm showing this, because I'm only showing the important stuff to the Lord. All right, that's enough of that. So the earlier seasons of Julie were more story driven, whereas the later seasons I feel like are more like lighthearted comedy, like Saturday morning cartoon. I feel. Um, I did that to show like in the first few seasons, Julie was more like story heavy, like more dramatic. In later seasons, I felt like because things were starting to become more like okay, like less hectic, like less dramatic, I feel like it was okay to be more lighthearted. But in doing so, I personally feel like that kind of just killed any momentum that Julia Stroamekian was going for. So I personally feel like season 4 is the weakest season of Julia Stroamekian, honestly. Skipping ahead. Again, I'm only going for what's important to the lore here. So Caitlin is waking up in Dr. Ingenius's laboratory and discovering that Ingie is trapping her there. Caitlin's learning who Dr. Ingenious actually is. Because mind you, before this, Caitlin thought Ingie was a child like her, but Ingie was only pretending to be a child under the guise of magic. So basically, as you're gonna see, Caitlin is a defective Stroamekian, which in Stroamekian terms means that she was born like too short, which in Stroamekian culture means that her Stroamekian magic powers, her power of Stroamekian is unstable. So which means that there's an excess amount of it, which means that Dr. Ingenious wants it. Skipping ahead. This is where Julie and her friends officially meet Ryan, but I skipped to the end because it's more important. It's where they get captured. Good morning, everyone. Wrong video. Also, I'm pretty sure this is the first official. I ran into a video of myself talking. This is the first official episode in which I used that intro, I think. So now Julie and Angie are becoming more and more mortal enemies. Oh, went too far. So, Dr. Ingenious wants, as she is describing, she wants to extract Caitlyn's powers to turn humans into Stroamekians, thereby destroying humanity. And she's gonna use her now newfound Stroamekian army to conquer the world. The only one who can stop her is Julia Stroamekian. Go figure. Why? Because Julie has more magical powers than anyone. Go figure. Of course, at the time, this isn't really established. It's more hinted at, but there's a deleted scene to explain what just happened there, because I'm sure that this can confuse people, but I won't be going over that deleted scene. You can find it if you want to. It's in this playlist of Julia Schumacher's complete franchise. Or I can just show it anyway, because the next video was that. And you know what's crazy? I think the part 2 of that was actually in the other video, so... I'm silly. So in this episode, the heroes officially start saving the world. Also, this is why I wanted to prove that Ryan is nerdy, but also heroic. So, by the end of season 2, after being recognized for her talents and heroics, Julie's mom finally accepts that Julie is a hero, and Dr. Ingenious finally recognizes that Julie is a threat to her plans, thereby solidifying her role as Dr. Ingenious' arch nemesis. After this, Julie enrolls in the Military Academy, a play on the military. Basically, it's like a magical boarding school. I don't know if you could consider it's a Hogwarts, but basically it's a school for Stroamekians to learn how to use their powers better. See, right here, Julie explains that she already knows how to use her powers, but she wants to earn a certificate or a degree that says she knows how to use her powers, as well as like fully perfect them. Engie hatches a plan to... This is where Engie starts hatching plans to use the power of Stroamekian against Julie by coming up with ways to sabotage her. This episode orientation is important because it introduces a new character to Julie Stroamekian who would change the franchise forever. Oh, just a side note. I don't know why. Like, I feel like for the earlier installments of Simpsons, that's why it made more sense. But I don't know why in the earlier seasons of Julius Showmaking or just in the earlier installments in general, I had profanity. I do apologize for this now because looking back, I don't think it worked like at all. But like not for Julius Showmaking anyway. And I do apologize again, but it is here, and at this point, there's really nothing I can do about it because it's on the internet by now. But um in the later seasons, I did tone it down. People seem to have, you know, forgiven it by not addressing it anymore. But yeah, that was a weird choice, and I guess you could say Julia Showmaking was a lot more edgier than it is today. But yeah, I did learn from that mistake. I don't write this way anymore, at least not for Julia Showmaking anyway. So Susie McAllister was actually a very much differently designed character before she got adopted by Julie's parents. As you can see, Julie and Susie pretty much hit it off like immediately. This is where the Mean Girls discover that Susie is also a defect, which means they're going to report this to Angie so that they can capture Susie and deliver her to Angie. And so basically, in the earlier seasons of Julie, there were more stakes. This is also where we. This is also where. Oh, wrong episode. This is also where Professor Fitzgerald and Julie became official enemies. Not like arch enemies like in with Julie and Doctor Ingenious, but officially enough to where he's gonna return. Um, the Detention of Doom is where Julie discovers that Doctor Ingenious is using the Mean Girls as a means of trying to capture Susie. This is where Julie learns that Susie is a target. Now notice how Julie has by this point has completely forgotten about Caitlin, who was captured in season 1, and this is season 3. I'm saying this because this is going to come back later. In this episode or two, we learned that Julie has the power to turn into a human, thereby proving that Stroamekians aren't just basically they can turn to humans, not permanently. I made a according to lore Stroamekology, Stroamekians can only turn to humans for 12 hours. After that, the magic wears off. See, Julie and her family have adopted Susie as their own, so Julie now has a little sister. I did this as a that trope in like TV shows and movies where like we're having a baby and stuff like that, like adding a new. Well, I think it mainly happens in the shows, but it's like that thing, and it's like I did that as a way of like a parody of it, but it's also like official. It's a parody in the sense that Susie isn't really a. I mean, she's a baby of the family by now, but like she's not like an infant. She's just 2 years younger than Julie because Julie is 6 years old, and so Susie is 4. After season 4 of Julia Stroamekian, I was originally going to wrap up the series with season 4, but long story short, season 4 didn't do very well. I didn't intentionally make it like lazy, but I didn't really know what I was going for, honestly, with season 4, because seasons 1 through 3 were so done well, in my opinion, that I kind of just didn't know what to do with season 4. Looking back, I guess I could have focused more on like how Julius rivalry with NG was going, but at the time I didn't think of it like that, and it didn't go very well, to say the least. So because of that, Season 4 ended up the way it is. So to try and make up for it, I worked on Julie the Stroamekian's Ingenious Adventure. It's trying to sum this up in the best way possible. It's an action adventure 3D platformer that is also technically canonical with the first 4 seasons of Julie, or at least the first 3 seasons. And the reason why I say it's canonical is because the cutscenes actually technically further the plot of Julie Stroamekian, whereas the levels themselves, the gameplay, is more like the interactive parts of the game. So basically, it's an interactive TV special, basically, or a game that ties heavily into the series. So there's the tutorial. So basically, every 3 levels you get, every 2 levels is basically the level's theme. I call like, if you've seen any of my videos, like when I do video game like showcasings, I do chapters. Every 2 levels of a chapter will be, the intro of the theme of that level. Then there will be the continuation of that theme. Then a boss battle usually. And for Ingenious Adventure, every time you defeat a boss in the 3rd stage, you get a mini game. Now with Julia Stroamekian's Ingenious Adventure, because Susie is a child, and I wanted each of these mini games, like Tag with Lasers, Hide and Go Freak, which is like a play on hide and seek, and Tag with Lasers. Tag with Lasers is a play on laser tag, obviously. Because Susie is a child, I wanted these mini games to have like, an obvious pun, but these puns are based on childhood games like laser tag and hide and seek. So Ingenious Adventure, or dodgeball, red light, green light, red tile, green tile. The door is lava. The door on lava. I'm on here because I want to show you a specific scene that ties into. Remember how I said in season 3, Julie seems to have forgotten Caitlyn exists, but in season 1, she seemed more focused on saving, or at least season 1 and 2, she seemed focused on saving Caitlyn. But season 3, she seems to have forgotten her. Let's see what happens because of that. No, something different. Oh wait, before we do this, I want to do this. So Caitlyn is talking to NG, and she's discussing how. Oh yeah. So notice a detail. Notice the tally marks. Each of them, at least from what I can tell, are meant to represent how many um, days and weeks have gone by since Julie was supposed to rescue her, or how long she's been stuck there. It's like a fourth wall breaking of how long the series has been going. At the time I made this 2 years ago, like it's like a fourth wall break, but also like showing how long Caitlyn at the time Caitlyn was captured by NG. So basically, NG is brainwashing Caitlyn into believing that Julie just straight up abandoned her, which if we're being completely honest here, she kind of technically did. It's not like she wanted to, but she also didn't really put much of an effort into finding her either. If we're being completely honest. So Caitlyn knows how she's looking completely different. She looks more evil, more villainous. See, Caitlyn's even pointing out that she's been locked away for so long. She's explaining that Doctor G just wants to turn every human into Stroamekians to destroy humanity and use her human to turn Stroamekians into slaves to be used as an army to take over the world. Which leads us to after um Ingenious Adventure. Remember, I said I was going to wrap up Julia Shermackian, but I said, you know what? I don't think I did enough justice with Julia Shermackian, so I went for a fifth season, and then a sixth season, and then a theatrical film that we're gonna get to like right after Ingenious Plan. Then another video game for Julia Shermackian, but we're not gonna get into that because that's just it's a different adventure, but it's like it has nothing to do with what I'm going for here. And again, I am currently working on the seventh season of Julia Shermackian, so this franchise is still going to this day. But for right now, oh yeah, so I even have crossovers with my other cartoons. I have a crossover with Go For It, the version of Run of Go For It. I'm currently working on a rebooted version of Go For It, and then a crossover with Substance SY. More specifically, a crossover with Substance SY versus Central Justice. I have other specials for Julia Schumacher too, like Ryan Hood and his Merry Mex, and a few others like Legend of the Mechless, but I'm not going into those because I don't really think they pertain to what I'm going for here. So let's go with Ingenious Plan. We're gonna watch the whole thing. This is a recap of all of the previous adventures Julie had over the year. It's pretty much going over what happened in Ingenious Adventure 2. So remember when I said that um, at the time I couldn't figure out if Julia Schumacher was a fantasy or sci-fi franchise? This is kind of what I meant. There's fantasy aspects, like when I specify genres, I mean like with fantasy, I'm thinking of like mystical creatures, magical artifacts, and whatnot. With sci-fi, I think of aliens, scientists, whether good scientists or evil scientists, and futuristic technology. I think Julia Schumacher is a combination of both. So this is, remember how I said I wanted Angie to look like a Stroamekian scientist? I think this is where it starts really coming into play, especially with her laboratory in the background. So the Mean Girls were transformed from Stroamekians into beacons, a callback to when that happened in the original shorts. But they are Stroamekians again later on in the series. For those who didn't get it, the long time ago museum is shaped like an hourglass. See, see, I'll try to be creative. Professor Fitzgerald's attacking the city. Julie showed up in her human form, and mind you, this is the only time I ever really gave her like a superhero outfit. And every now and then I would try to like curl up her hair, like put in the ponytail or like that, or, like scrunch it up like that. But I don't think it works for her, so I think I just stopped doing it. I don't think the humor in Julie Schumacher has ever like completely deteriorated, because every now and then there's like still that edgy humor that I think the series was known for back in the day, like this. I just think over time, but the series has become like more of a Saturday morning cartoon, if anything. Julie's realizing how psychopathic NG actually is. So the point of me going through all of these is to show like there is an overarching lore to Julia Stroamekian. That's why I'm not showing like too much of the other villains. That's why I'm not showing like every single episode, because then we'd be here for like a very long time, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm just showing all the important stuff with NG, the important stuff anyway. Trying to skip ahead. Oh, skipped a little too far. So, after putting him in prison, Julie realizes that she needs Professor Fitzgerald's help. So she agrees that if she gets him out of prison, he helps her to save the day. So he agrees. Oh, and she also throws in the Stroamekian sphere too. So Dr. Ingenious is using Stroamekians to take over the world. Trying to, anyway. So because Dr. Ingenious has like a massive ego, I decided to give her a castle that was designed just like her. Yeah, some of the this was around the time where the series got like a soft reboot, so the characters got redesigned. There was no profanity written into the scripts, thank God. I apologize for that. Um, So this was the first official time I started with the reboot of the design, so it didn't really look very good. And it took a little while longer for it to become like as good as it is today. And even now, I still don't think it looks perfect, but yeah, it took a while for the reboot to really hone in on the modern designs of Julia Stroamekian. So this shows that Julie the scene went too fast. This scene shows that Julie has actually almost been defeated before. And it shows that Professor Fitzgerald does actually have a heart, because he was willing to help Julie save the world. Yeah, I try to write some kind of moral or life lessons here. I don't know how well it worked, but so now we're moving on to the final piece that I want to cover. Julie and the Power of Stroamekian. Basically, another live action. Well, it was a mix of animation and live action scenes I wrote. Again, the written out parts are representing live action, while the storyboarded parts represent animation. This was the first theatrical film for Julia Stroamekian. It takes place after season 6. Takes place after season 6 and before season 7. So let's get into it. That was the first time I ever utilized that intro from my company, Quintes Productions. Now, you know how Disney and Warner Bros. And other movie companies use like a special like logo design for their logos in their films? I wanted to do that with my newer films. I know I didn't do it in the earlier films. So the Mean Girls, Rachel, Gretchen, and Beth, are trying to steal a map from the Long Time Ago Museum. Julie shows up, confronts the Mean Girls, and uses her now strengthened Stroamekian powers to protect the map. Gretchen roars so loudly and she roars so powerfully that she helps Julie escape by breaking a hole in the wall. Julie tries to see the live action scenes and the animated scenes mixed together. Julie tries to escape, but the Mean Girls are now in pursuit. So around this time, I really wanted to hone in that Julia Stroamekian is meant to be a fantasy franchise. So this incorporates magical powers and even magical spells. Because look closely, Julie's speaking. Well, she can speak Stroamekian. You're gonna see later on too. Because Stroamekians aren't just a species in my franchise; it's its own race and culture. So Julia Stroamekian can speak Stroamekian as its own language. And yes, there is a bit of raunchy humor with the large breasts from the three-headed Stroamekians joined together. So I was. Oh yeah, that's the Stromekiphis. It's basically a play on Stromekian and sarcophagus. Basically, because Stromekians are loosely inspired by Egyptian culture somewhat, I decided to make a dramatic play on it by having an alternate dimension be like a pocket. Remember how in Stuff That's Why there's a pocket dimension where the evil aliens go to get banished? Think of that, but with Stromekians. You're gonna see later on. So even though this is a film, the film officially begins with, well, after the title sequence, it begins the same way a normal episode would. Yeah, again, I really wanted to hone in the fact that Julius Stroamekian is a fantasy franchise. I did this by really honing in on the family's magical heritage. So the Stroamekian Memorial is meant to be like, uh, it's like the the Hall of Fame for Stroamekians, basically. I won't spoil it, but there's a reason why I chose the name Nakamorts, and I mean, if you've seen this before, you probably already know what I'm getting at, but I won't spoil it until like I won't say it at the until the end. So that's a Stromekian mask right there on the wall. Yeah, I had a lot of fun depicting Stromekian culture on the walls and artifacts. It just like You're making a film for a fantasy franchise. Might as well have some fun with it. And I had a lot of fun working on this dinner scene too. Also, I specifically chose music that I felt like sounded like whimsical and um like mystical. So I don't know if you can see it because of my handwriting, but in a live action scene, like the live action part of the script, Nakamura is asking Julie's mother if Julie can attend with him on an expedition to find the entombed crown of Queen Makraya. Basically, it's in Atomicon's version of ancient, well, not ancient anymore, but like Atomicon's version of Egypt called the Nile River. NG basically visited her minions at the prison, which is the creature pen, basically a prison for animals. Like, I guess you could argue that it's basically the zoo, except not really. It's an actual, like, legitimate prison for animals. So she visited them to tell them that they were fired, basically. The scene went by too fast. So I was trying to pull what Warner Bros. Did with the 2021 Tom and Jerry film by making all the animal characters live action. Making all the animal characters animated and making all the humans live action. I tried to pull a similar thing by making the animal characters and the backgrounds and whatnot animated with the human characters being live action. Queen Makraya herself. See those Stroamekian symbols on the door? One has to be able to speak Stroamekian to do that, to read them. Remember how I said I wanted to hone in on the fact that Julie Stroamekian is a fantasy franchise? Part of that, again, is Julie speaking magic spells and incantations and whatnot. So here she's speaking Stroamekian to unlock the door. She gets in, but after Nakamura reveals that they're there to get the crown of Queen Makraya, a Stroamekian mask triggers the Stroamekian fist. Basically, a stone Stroamekian that attacks intruders. Julie uses her Snow-Mekian powers to freeze the stone Mekian. And the impact causes it to crack and it breaks into pieces. They finally found the crown. But it seems that Nakamura isn't really as he seems, and lo and behold, it's Dr. Ingenious. He was tricking Julia Stroamekian the whole time. And it turns out Nakamura was working with Dr. Ingenious. And was only tricking Julie to get to the crown, so that she could kill Julie after getting the crown. So Julie hides in the cave because it's raining and it's too hard to see where she's going, as well as she doesn't want to get struck by lightning, potentially. But things aren't really going that smoothly back at Julie's home anyway, because oh yes, I'm pulling a what Disney and Warner Brothers do. I'm making references to my other characters by doing cameos. So Caitlin shows up to capture Susie on behalf of Angie. Julie's parents try to stop her, but Caitlin traps them in a Stroamekian lamp. Again, Stroamekian culture is based on other cultures. So the parents are trapped in a magic lamp, and Susie is captured by Caitlin and taken to Dr. Ingenious' lair. Meanwhile, Julie tries in vain to get back home. She's almost eaten by a beacon, but the beacon is knocked out by Stag. And I'm gonna just point this out. During the dinner scene, notice something on the table. They're eating bacon and they're eating buckaroo, which is in my world basically deer and basically deer, doe, bucks, what have you, creatures of that species. So they're eating bacon and buckaroo. Julie was almost eaten by a beacon. And she was saved by a buckaroo. Basically, I pointed that out to say that I was going for foreshadowing, basically. Back with Dr. Ingenious, she turned on Caitlin. She wants more power than just having Susie. And back with Julie, well, she's my bad. I was trying to match the tone of the music, but Julie's going back home. So I guess Stack forgives her for eating buckaroo. I mean, not that she killed it anyway, but just a side note, I always have fun drawing the Mr. Sun, the sleeping moon, and the clouds with faces. Um, if anyone ever wondered, there's happy cloud, a normal cloud, sad cloud, a rainy cloud, angry cloud, a thunder cloud, no thunder lightning. Then there's the sleeping cloud, where if it sleeps too much, it turns into fog because it's lazy. Yeah, cloud lore. So earlier, Julie's friends were bummed out because they couldn't go on the expedition with her. But here, they get to help her save the world. Julie makes it back home and saves her parents or frees them. See a sleeping moon up there. Dr. Ingenious has captured both Susie and Kate, and she is using their powers to imbue her and Nakamortz with the souls of. Because originally Nakamortz was a human, but now he's a Stroamekian because they imbued themselves with the souls of Queen Mechariah and King Mekian. So Nakamortz imbued himself with King Mekian, Angie imbued herself with Queen Mechariah, and now they're going to use their royal powers to rule Stroamekians. So now they're going on a rampage to Pine Tree City, of all places. And now they're using Stroamekians because they want to imbue other humans with the souls of Stroamekians. There's usually a newscaster, but again, all the humans are live action, so I wouldn't be able to draw him. So now here's the final battle. Nasty shorts. So if you haven't figured it out by now, I don't know if I mentioned it. I don't know if it's shown in this film, but Nakamortz is Stroamekian backwards. So basically, his name is a play on the fact that he wants to be a Stroamekian. I can't decide whether or not his name would always have been Nakamortz, or if he just made it up, or like legally changed his name to Nakamortz. So basically, the Stroamekian Memorial was always a ruse to trick Julie and her family into coming up the mountain, so that he could tricked Julie into going on the expedition with him. It was all a long con. Julie frees her sisters. Spoiler alert, she's gonna adopt Caitlin too. Because now that it's revealed that Dr. Ingenious was only brainwashing Caitlin, Caitlin now realizes the error of her ways. Now, even the mean girls are turning on Dr. Ingenious for fighting them. Basically, everyone who was on Engie's side, except for Nakamortz, is now here to defeat Engie. Well, there was only like a few people that were on Engie's side, but even still, everyone's basically here to defeat Engie and Nakamortz. Remember how I mentioned the Stroamekian? Well, similar to the climax of Dr. Facilier and the Princess and the Frog, Dr. Ingenious and Nakamortz are being banished to their Stroamekian. I really enjoyed this climax where Engie tells off where Julie tells off Engie. Like that bite down, like where the mask bites down in the Princess and the Frog in the climax. I like that. So the day is saved. Dr. Ingenious is finally defeated, or is she? And Nakamortz too. Again, it wasn't really much of a spoiler, I guess, but Julie and her sisters, Caitlin is now one of her sisters, they're enjoying life together, and then it's revealed that the reptilians are back. So now they're going to use their powers to save the day. I had a lot of fun working on this film. I do intend to work on the second Stroamekian film in the future, as well as a third Stroamekian game. I won't spoil when those will be. Hopefully they're in the future, like near future, but I feel like I really did a good job of honing in on the fantasy aesthetic I was going for. with this film, as well as Julia Sherwicken's later seasons overall. I even worked on the after credits scene where Meckley, Necromorph's butler, is happy that Necromorph is defeated because he can now sell the artifacts from the Stroamekian Memorial and become rich. And that was Julia Stroamekian, or at least all that I really think was necessary to show. Along with Substance S.Y., I did like 2 songs for Substance S.Y. I also worked on. I also had. So I did. I wrote lyrics for. I wrote lyrics for 2 songs for Substance S.Y. And I did. I did 2 songs for Julia Stroamekian. I completely forgot to do this with Substance S.Y. But for this one, I'm going to. You know what? No, I'm not going to. I feel like this video has gone on way too long, and I don't want to push it just in case I don't have enough time to actually like finish this video. But if you want to, I'll just quickly. Nah, I'm never gonna do that. If you want to know what songs I'm talking about, look through the, look for Substance XY. Look for Substance XY, the complete franchise, and look for a song titled "Make." Look for a song titled Substance XY. It's a very vague title because the franchise is called Substance XY. But it's a recent upload. It has quotation marks around the Substance XY title, and then there's like the alien emoji and the DNA emoji close together by it. It's a song written by me, generated by the actual song itself is generated by AI. If you care to listen to it, then there's McGuffin, another song written by me and generated with AI. For Julia Stroamekian, I wrote 2 songs too. I wrote Julia Stroamekian, again a vague title I know, written. There's quotation marks around it with the crystal ball emoji and the magic wand emoji close to it. Then there's another song titled "Well Pop Diggity." Yes, I know there's shorts for "Well Pop Diggity," but it's a song. It's a recent upload if you want to find it. And then it also has quotation marks around it if you want to find it. Then for Go For It, even I wrote at least 1 song. It's the theme song. It's the Go For It theme song. That should be easy to find because it's one of the recent uploads. Under Go For It. So for Julia Stroamekian songs, her songs are under Julia Stroamekian's complete franchise. And for Go For It, I put it under Go For It, the complete franchise. I was going to post the songs in this video, but then I remembered that I didn't do the ones for Substance XY. I was meaning to, but the video went on too long, and for this one, I feel like it's kind of pretty much the same thing. But either way, it is. That's pretty much all I really. I feel like this behind the scenes wasn't as. I feel like it could have been stronger as it was, but I think I got enough content I needed. I did the original shorts. So I did the lore of how Julia Sherwicken's came to be. Did the original shorts. the attempt at rebooting Julius Stroamekian, and then the official series, and then the film, as well as pointing out that there's songs written for Julius Stroamekian, even though it's sung by AI technically. Um, Again, I wasn't gonna try singing the songs to myself. I'm not gonna embarrass myself. I can't even make music, so I it's generated by AI, but I think the songs are good enough. And the songs are originally written by me. So with that being said, um, I posted the Substance SY behind the scenes earlier today. I'm gonna have this one done by the same time tomorrow, 6 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. I'm gonna try to schedule it for then. With that being said, I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all stay tuned for it. With that being said, I hope you all enjoyed. Peace out. Take care, everyone.